Hello and welcome to League Tonight, a daily series every night that I would be recording, talking about the League of Legends that happened globally. And by globally, I mean the four major regions, not LCP. Sorry, I just can't keep up with you guys. But we'll be talking about LTA, North and South. We'll talk about LEC. We'll be talking about LCK and LPL. Obviously, most of the time we're going to be talking about LCK and LPL just because, well, they play pretty much every single day, whereas LEC and LTA don't. So today we're gonna start off with T1 versus Nongshim, and boy, oh boy, T1. Um, a lot of people are keeping an eye on T1. I personally am a Lehens fan, so I like watching Nongshim, and obviously they had the better record coming in. They play against T1, and this series could have been a 2-0. Like, yes, T1 is the better team. Yes, in LCK Cup, Nongshim ended up higher than T1. Like T1 was clearly the better team, but the bracket, that's the way it went. This could have been a 2-0 for Nongshim. That is kind of worrying for T1. I try not to take too many overreactions when it comes to things like regular season. Like we're months away from MSI. We're like weeks, months away from actual qualification to MSI. So it's like, how important is this game? Not too important. At the end of the day, you got the win, but I do like to keep track of certain patterns, right? When a team consistently shows a pattern throughout time, then you can kind of sort of take stock in what you're seeing rather than the actual result. So game one versus Nongshim T1 pretty much almost lost that game, and the way T1 played was not the T1 that we're used to over the past 3 years. Obviously, there's a different roster with Smash and Doran, but this is just not the T1 that we're used to. I thought Calyx and Gideon kept on finding Smash game one multiple times. They would just like completely dive and find Smash and get him out of the game so that he can't do anything. And then it's just Faker basically who was left to do DPS, wasn't able to like carry those team fights until late in the game. Obviously, Owner has always been like a rock for this team, consistently being in the right place, absorbing damage, finding ways to like absorb as much damage without dying. Now, obviously, in the beginning of the game, it was quite hectic what was going on. Nongshim had a lead. The Baron call that they did to really cement their lead was kind of reminded me of T1. It's just hilarious that they did this against T1. You know, that 26-minute Baron, I think it was, or something like that. Where they just like two-man Baron. T1 had no idea. By the time they found out, it was already taken. This is just like peak T1 2023, early 2024 T1. um, I'm just gonna give credit to Lehens because he's pretty much the leader of this team, and the fact that he was able to identify this against T1 kind of uh, made it an interesting game. Definitely from that position, they should have won the game. They didn't. T1 put up good defenses, and then obviously the last Baron was not great. I have to be honest, like Jiwoo is not it, man. He just does not stop getting caught. 29 minutes into the game, I think near the T1's Raptor, he just gets caught by Faker and by Owner, and like by a miracle of God, he survives. Sure, but it's like you're playing a Poke Varus time and time again. You're standing up, going way too far up, and just getting caught. Like this is stuff we used to make fun of Tactical for. For him, just like stepping up. I think there was a play early on, maybe around like 18ish minutes, somewhere around there, where he's just like Nongshim just won a team fight, or there was a team fight that happened near the Herald, and he just walking up mid lane with no one around him for no reason, face to face with the Talia and the Lulu, and just like gets tossed. He burns his flash, Faker burns his flash, gets that kill, and it's just like, man, you can't be doing this. Like, come on, you're playing Poke Varus. Just let the wave come to you. Just hit QE and you're done. The fact that Jiwoo, if Jiwoo had played a little bit better, especially on a Poke Varus, I think you win that game one, you go on to game two, you're diving Doran over and over again. I mean, the Silas pick was great. You had the Sejuani ultimate to steal, you had the Gnar ultimate to steal. You just had really good ultimates that I don't necessarily think they thought, hey, they're going to play Silas into Gnar. Getting that super early kill wasn't great from Doran, but then the fact that they dove him, they killed him again under tower. Like, obviously, Doran was able to come back a little bit, and the game was very scrappy and back and forth. And this is sort of like the Nongshim playstyle. It's like they're like the fifth best team, right? They're not like the top four. The top four pretty much are DK, T1 Genji, and Hanwha Life. And then you have like Nongshim there, but the fact that they keep these games scrappy, they keep these games super exciting, they keep these games super like um on the edge so that you don't feel comfortable. And T1 like is willing to go into those game states, but if they're not playing clean, they're not playing their macro game like they always used to do. They're not playing the team fights the way the especially the mid to late game team fights the way that they really want to play them. They're just they lose, right? They lose that game too. Whereas T1 of old would not lose that game. And game three obviously completely went the way of T1. I thought the Jinx Kench was like something you could have expected. But then, okay, here's my gripe with game three. I watch a lot of GP. I watch a lot of high elo GP players play. And I thought that you definitely I know you had an Ari in the mid lane, sure. But I thought from Nongshim's perspective, you could have went APGP. And I argued that if they went APGP, they would have won the game. Because you have a Jinx and you have a Victor on the enemy team. GP's ult will straight up 100 to 0 them. They will not be able to do a thing. Now, you won't be able to get the multiple catches on Doran. Like, Doran was playing his Sion. His Sion was amazing because his Sion, like, it just in that game, just no one was able to kill Sion. You need 3 people to come on the sideline to kill Sion. And team fights, he just wasn't going to die. And I thought, well, hey, if you're not going to kill him, right? The reason you go AD GP is because you can kill the Sion. You can pressure him with the barrels and you can push him out of lane. You can do all that stuff with him, especially when you get your passive recess and whatnot. But if you just go AP, right? You go Triforce, which he did to begin with, and then you just go into full AP. I'm pretty sure that's just like GG right there because your ulti is up every single time you need it, every single minute, pretty much. If you go Axiom, it's even less, just because of the cooldown that you get on like takedowns and whatnot. And you just ulti on top of Jinx and Victor. Like, what are they gonna do? Tom Kench Eat isn't exactly going to do anything, right? It's not like you're diving onto them. I thought it was definitely an APGP game. I'm actually quite curious. I think I will tweet at Solar Baka and see what he thinks. If he thinks that you could have played that game, because they did have AP damage, right? Like Kaisa, I'm pretty sure went pure AD, but even then, like Kaisa does mix damage. You had Ari. I don't think Ari went super heavy into. I think she went the like Roa Leandris build. And then obviously you had Nocturne, which is AD damage. So you did have some AD damage from both Kaisa and Nocturne. So you could have won APGP. I thought that with the zone control and just like taking every single objective, they could have won that game. Obviously that didn't happen. T1 just snowballed and won the game. But yeah, I think a lot of people are going to overreact to what's happening with T1. They feel like T1 should be challenging for that top spot. It should be like a 3-way between Hanwha Life, Genji, and T1. Right now, T1 looks like a clear third team. They might even fall to the 4th or 5th team, right? They're not as defined. They have a lot of roster swaps. I think there's a lot of League of Legends left to play. Obviously, worrying trend, especially how they got destroyed the other day, but worrying trend. But I think that just give the roster time, and if this continues, then we can kind of be worried. As long as we see clear improvement, I think there shouldn't be a problem with this team. Next game was Genji versus FearX, BNK FearX, or BFX, or whatever you want to call them. I just are we not going to talk about Ruler? I know everybody's talking about Ruler, but like, what is going on, man? Game after game, just getting solo killed, like 2v2 killed multiple times in lane. Like, MF Braum is not supposed to die solo 3 different kills to the enemy team. Like, what is going on with Ruler? This is not the Ruler that got the payday from JDG. Like, this is not 2023 Ruler. 2024 Ruler played better than this. I know he wasn't as good as 2023, but like 2025 Ruler is not it. He needs to get back into form. This is like, he's like what, the 5th best AD carry at this point? Like, Guma's playing better than him. Smash is playing better than him. Viper's playing better than him. Heck, I would say Aiming is playing better than him. Like, Diablo played better than him today. Like, he's like, what, maybe 6th, 7th? Like, Berserker's playing pretty well. Is he just like a bottom tier AD carry? Like, what's going on? Every now and then there's a game where Ruler just like pops off and like you're like, oh, that's the Ruler we signed if you're a Genji fan, and then all of a sudden he's just not there. I don't understand. And at first it was like, okay, Duro's not playing well, especially in SLK Cup. It's like Duro is like the weak link, but now like Duro's playing fine. It's just Ruler's not. He's not it. He's not it. And it's like, sure, there's a lot of League of Legends to play. Again, this is like a trend that's been going on. It's not necessarily like overreaction to this one specific game, right? That's one thing I try to take is like there's a lot of League of Legends until the World Championship is left to play. Don't overreact. Chovy is like not playing at every single game that Chovy plays is not 11 out of 10 like he used to, but he's still like 8 out of 10 most games. And then he levels up to 10 out of 10 if he needs to. He's just amazing. Keen's pretty good. Canyon has on and off games, but the bottom lane just needs to, yeah, the bottom lane can't keep dying like this. Can't keep making mistakes like this. Can't just, yeah, you can't play like this on Denji. You just can't. Like that's unacceptable. Denji has their eyes on the world championship. They won MSI last year. They won LCK last year. Like they're aiming for the world championship, and I don't know that you make it you make it past semis. You make it to semis with Ruler and Duro like bottom lane playing like this. The fact that Diable is just like killing them over and over again, solo killing, like just finding angles to on Ruler 1v2 and killing him. Like, yes, champions are a thing, but like it's not like Ruler didn't get any of his champions, right? He got the Ashe last on 2023. His Ashe was like literally you could never get Ruler on Ashe. And sure, he had like the flash towards the end of the game to get the triple kill, but like he's just not playing as well as he used to. Also, going back to game one, I know I talked a lot about Ruler. Is Nefiri just the best jungler in the game right now? Like the fact that Nefiri can just bypass everybody. There's a fight near Grubs early on in the game where it went to like the red side, red buff area past the Raptors. And it's just like going past three people. Nefiri is going in, diving, killing Ruler, coming out, going back, killing Chovy, going back in, just like killing everybody to get an ace. Maybe it was later on in the game actually. But it's just like this champion is, when you have someone who's good on this champion, I don't know what you can do. Even if you're playing Viant and Nefiri, like it's just it's tough. Nefiri is a lot of fun. It's honestly a nice a nice breath of fresh air. I tend to mix those words together. Just to see like this champion that can go in and has counterplay, but also can outplay the opponent and learning the angles of like, oh, that's a Nefiri angle. I didn't think it was a Nefiri angle. It's always nice seeing new champions and being like, I didn't know that Champion could do that in that angle, could go dive between three people, get the kill, get out, and then kill the other person on the other side of the team fight. That's pretty cool. Um, Overall, I thought for game one, like in the big picture, BNK, they're a scrappy team. And Gen G is supposed to be the team that has the macro to neutralize scrappy teams, to take the fights that they want to, right? That's what they did to BLG. That's what they did to every LPL team that they faced at MSI last year. Like they find the team fights that they want. You want to scrap, you're going to scrap on their terms. When you take the fight, they are going to have the angles that they want, especially with Pays. They used to put him in perfect positions. And to see Gen G like kind of lose that spark in game one was a little bit worrying. Game two, again, Diable was just killing Ruler left and right. But then we saw more of the Gen G where it's like, you can take like 100 skirmishes with us, but then at the end of the day, you'll be like, hey, most of those were even, but we're down 4,000 gold. How did that happen? Because like they got the shutdowns, they got the key carries, they got the objectives, they got the, the macro. And even though we're like 12 kills to 12 kills in 20 minutes, somehow they just have item leads and objective leads and the pressure lead and the map lead and everything. They have the vision, they have everything. That's sort of what game two was like. They definitely lost some skirmishes, won some skirmishes, but overall, when they set up the skirmishes, like the one in Herald where they got a 5-0, like they can figure out just controlling the skirmishing, which is something that, again, over the past 2 years, Gen G has been very, very good at. And it was nice to see them like, okay, they didn't forget how to play. Game three, like, let's talk about perfect games. I think that there is a blowout and there is a perfect game. I think the criteria for a perfect game is no deaths. You cannot have any deaths. You cannot lose any towers, and you cannot lose any objective. Complete objective. 1 out of 3 grubs is not a complete objective. We see that with feats of war, right? 1 grub out of 3 is not an objective. If you get 3 in total, sure, I'd say that's an objective. I know that the feats don't count it that way. I don't care. But they only got 1 grub. I don't count that as an objective. That's not objective. I think legitimately, if you get a plate, that's just not an objective. A plate is just gold. Like if you got a cannon minion, is that an objective? No. If you got the scuttle crab, like is that an objective? No. Right? I don't think that 1 grub constitutes an objective. I don't think 1 plate constitutes an objective. I still really think that that's a perfect game. I think a blowout would be if you don't die, but you lose towers, you lose objectives, maybe even a baron, you lose a baron, but you don't die and you still win the game. That is a blowout. I don't think I've ever seen a game where maybe it's happened like once or something, where you actually win the game by blowing out the enemy team, but still losing Baron. I don't think I've ever seen that happen, but who knows? Maybe someone can correct me on that. But yeah, I thought game three was a perfect game. We saw the Gen G of old. They were taking 4v5s, winning them, getting them into positions, getting BFX into positions where, like, even though they had the number advantage, they can't win the team fights. Chovy just doing his stuff on Rise and win the game. Um, that's more of the Genji I want to see. I want to see that Genji play against Hanwha. I want to see that Genji play against T1. This is the Genji that really I think fans are expecting at this point, just because Chovy and has been the center of this team for so long, and it just feels like that's what the team has developed into. I want to see more of that. Moving on to the LPL, we had LGD 2-0ing LNG. Like, dude, I'm not gonna watch LNG games. Maybe if they win like 2-0 over someone, but like it's a bottom group play with LNG. Like, yeah, it's 2-0. I didn't watch the games. I don't think anyone did. Like, LNG's LNG, right? WE versus TES. Now, Top Esports is a team and a half because this team dominates the LPL and then goes internationally and absolutely just loses themselves. They lose one game, they forget how to play League of Legends, they just don't play like they ever used to, and it's so confusing. And we saw glimpses of that game one, they lose the game. I don't know what they're doing. They're taking every single fight, down members, down summoners, down ultimates, down everything, just going in blind. Lilia was trying to engage as if she was like a freaking Skarner. Kanavi, like, games 2 and 3, like his Lee Sin game was much better. Like, yes, he played better. But game 1, like, what was he doing on that Lilia? This is not Kanavi's Lilia. I don't understand what's going on with this team. Um, Game 1, the fact that they lost to WE, I'm pretty sure that's the first game WE has won in the Ascended group. Like, they hadn't even won a single game. They've lost all the games 0-2. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure they lost every single game. Top Esports, like, should not be losing to dropping a game. And it's not just they dropped the game, it's the way that they dropped the game. I think if you're an LPL fan, you want Top Esports to play well and lose, not play poorly and lose. Because when Top Esports is playing well, that's going to push AL, that's going to push JDG, that's going to push BLG, that's going to push these top teams like IG. But if they're playing like this, like internationally, and then they come back and domestically, and then they start playing like this, that's a worrying trend for Top Esports. You can change the members. I don't know. Cream is really good. Jackie Love isn't as good as he was last year. I thought last year he was one of the best AD carries in the world. I think this year he's just like, he has a lot of ups and downs. 369, I think, is playing really well. I thought he started off the first split not too great, but he's like been leveling up, and he was a big reason why they won the first split of LPL. And it's just crazy to see the inconsistencies, I guess. Like, that big of inconsistencies is not something you usually see. Like, sure, a team can have a bad day, but like, you keep some of your fundamentals. It just feels like this Top Esports team loses its fundamentals so often, and it's not something that, as an LPL fan, you want to see. As a Top Esports fan, you don't want to see that. Especially the fact that they changed out Tion, they brought in Kanavi, they have Crisp now. This team should be different, right? Like, what is going on? The fact that this keeps happening, I don't understand it. Game 2, I loved how the game started off with the 5v5 top lane. Obviously, Top Esports ended up winning the series. They reverse swept. But just, I wanted to shout out the 5v5 top lane, like, straight up Earth vibes, all go top, all fight, get the kills. It was scrappy game. I love scrappy games. I mean, it's the LPL. You're always going to get scrappy games. Top Esports obviously pull it out. Kanavi had Lee Sin, the kick, the flash kick to get the Varus at the very end near the mid tower. That was pretty clean. I thought Varus had flash. He could have probably flashed it, but I mean, Kanavi was just so quick on it. Game 3, all I have is just to say, like, biscuits are OP. When Ari was just like autoing Talia over and over, and the biscuits were running, and she was gaining HP, and she ended up living. Obviously, probably had to sacrifice herself, but the fact that, like, with no mana on both the Talia and the Ari, the fact that just Ari couldn't kill the Talia because biscuits are OP was hilarious to me. I thought, I mean, it's funny. They changed biscuits because, like, biscuits are too OP. They give too much mana. So we're gonna change it so that they give even more health. And it's like, it's even more OP now. Like, the use scenarios are less, but the idea of, like, using these biscuits the power of the biscuits, I think, overall has gone up. It's just the situations where you can use the biscuits has gone down. Overall, like, you expect Top Esports to win probably 2-0 against WE, but they pull off the win. At the end of the day, if Top Esports win the split, no one's gonna look back and say, "Oh, remember when you almost lost to WE?" Like, no one's gonna remember that. Um, but it is kind of worrying for Top Esports to see them play like this. Again, one game sample size or one match sample size is not big enough to make any conclusions. But I'm gonna keep track on Top Esports and make sure that I not necessarily temper expectations, but keep track of what's going on with them if they keep playing like this. Maybe there's something to say, you know? As far as tomorrow, we have some pretty good games. I think we're going to see NIP play Weibo. I'm excited for that game. I want to see Doinb versus Xiaohu. That's always a pleasure to watch. Bro versus KT. I mean, KT's just going to run over Bro. I'd be surprised if it was anything else. BLG versus WE. I'm pretty sure BLG is going to do something illegal to WE. Maybe if WE start taking wins off of all these other teams, you can start saying, hey, maybe WE has something. But again, even if WE had beaten TES, I don't think people would have said, oh, WE is playing well. It would have been, what the hell is Top Esports doing? And then Hanwha Life versus DRX. I mean, Hanwha Life is looking like a monster. So I don't think there's much to say. Tomorrow's games should be relatively obvious. I think that like the one that I'm really looking forward to is NIP Weibo. Um, I'm cheering for NIP. I hope that they win. I like Doinb. I like Xiaohu too, but I want to see Doinb win. Overall, I think it's going to be an exciting match. It's the last match of the day, so probably record that reactions to that. Maybe some overreactions, and then get that up to you guys. Yeah, we'll be going on every single day that there's League of Legends, just every night. Record some, or I guess early morning, whatever it is. Record some reactions. Figure out the weekends are going to be a lot longer of episodes because on like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, right? There's going to be LEC and LTA as well, so there are going to be a lot of games to cover over the weekend. Um, but yeah, overall, I think that that should cover it for this episode. Thank you guys for watching. It's a new channel, so hit the subscribe button if you want to keep up with like global League of Legends. Because I realized I keep up with it. I might as well just talk about it because I do like talking about League of Legends. So we're gonna be talking a lot about League of Legends every single night, keeping up with the games, making sure that we're following what's happening and not making overreactions, and just having a good time. So see you guys next time. Bye, guys.